Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this quick tutorial or coding challenge, I am going to teach how to make a simple tic-tac-toe game using Python. This is going to be a console based game, so anyone can do this in their free time, and it's going to be very simple and straightforward. There's a lot of version in tic-tac-toe game. People use PyGames and other packages, but I'm going to do it in the simplest way. So if you have more ideas on how to even make a better game of tic-tac-toe, you can go ahead and take the inputs from mine and learn from me, or you can also do it in your own do it with your own idea. So let's get started. This is how the game is going to look like in the end. So if you enter the column and the row, it is going to print X on that specific column and the row, and we can print the O in some other place. So this game is you can see that column 0 is same, so this column is same and O has 1. So this is going to be the final result of the game. I'll talk about how to create functions and everything. Since this is a coding challenge, it's very important for us to also keep a timer and to code fast. Just before getting into the coding side, I'll just quickly show you guys how I came up with the idea and behind the coding and what kind of approach I'll be taking before I code. So let's get started. So the first thing is we need to create a matrix. You can either create a Numpy matrix or even use a single dimensional array, but I'm thinking of a matrix. We obviously have to get the inputs from the person on which place it has to be or which position in the matrix it has to be. So this is a simple 3 by 3 matrix, and this is going to be called as 0, 0. First element X is going to be called as 0, 0. So we can simply go ahead and use Numpy. It will make the program much more simpler and easy to work with. We can divide the program into functions or pods. So the function that we would require is show matrix, and then we also need to check the matrix if someone has won the game or not. We also have to get input from the user about which column and which row they have to place their X or O. So we have to get inputs from user and the main loop. So that's all is there when it comes to the programming part, and we have to run this 3 inside a loop. We can simply use a while true loop, or if you see this, there is only we just have to run this 9 times. We do not have to run this again and again. So there is like 9 places here. That is a 3 cross 3 matrix. Only 9 times we can place either X or O. So we can use a for loop and we can run that from a range of 1 to 10 or 0 to 9. So let's get into the coding part. Let's start the timer and let's start coding. First we have to import Numpy, math and random. So these are the imports or packages that we will require. Then we have to create a matrix equal to, or you can name this whatever you want, but I'm going to simply name it as matrix. So we are creating an array, and in that array we just need to fill it with spaces. We do not have to initially fill it with X or O or anything. We are just leaving it as blank. So we have now created our matrix, and you can name this whatever you want. You can name it as tic-tac-toe or something else also. Now we are going to create functions. So we have to show the matrix. We need to get the matrix before we show it from the while loop. So we are going to name it as show result. As I said, you can name it as whatever you want. Let's go ahead and print just a space to make sure that it's not going to get crammed. And now we have to type in some placeholders. or you can use some other methods or printing formats. So I'm going to use format for this. Here we go, and then we have to also draw lines in between them, and using dot format method we have to show specific locations of the matrix. Here show result, and then first is going to be 0 comma 0, so 0 comma 0, and then again show result 0 comma 1. You can either type it 0 comma 1 or specify in this way also. It's up to you whether you want to just type in parenthesis 0 comma 1 or something, and then 0 comma 3. Okay, now we have to make lines to make sure that you're able to. For lines I'm just using underscore. I do not know how many underscore we need, so let's just print it and see if this is working fine. And then we have to print the same thing here, but we have to change this to 1. 1 comma 0, 1 comma 1, and 1 comma 3. And we need to print another line here right after this, and then we have to copy this line and use this line, but we have to print 2 comma 0, 2 comma 1, and 2 comma 3. Let's go ahead and see how this looks like. So we have created only one matrix, one definition now. Let's just run the show matrix, and we'll pass in our matrix, that is matrix. Let's go ahead and run this on Anaconda prompt. I had to rename this file because it's currently named with a space. So let me go ahead and rename this. Let's try to run this, and index 3 is out of, yeah. So here is the problem. Instead of 3 we have to specify this as 2, and now it should be good. See, we get a blank matrix, and if we are going to change some values here, like say x, and save this, and then let's run this and see. Yeah, we can see that there is an x. So that's how you can create this function really quick, and this will be encouraging to work on this project even more. So we have created our first function, pretty straightforward function, and let's go ahead and also get a function called get input. What this is going to do is it is going to get the input from the user of the location where they want to place the x or y. You can be more specific, like row number or something. I'm just keeping this really simple. So a minus 1 and also b minus 1. Why do I add a minus 1 here? According to humans, like how we perceive the matrix is, let's say we are having a matrix of 3 by 3. So this place right here, this is actually called 1 comma 1 according to whatever max we learn. But in a computer, in a Numpy array, this is actually 0 comma 0. So if we are going to specify this as 1 comma 1 and 2 comma 2, then we obviously have to change the values to something that a computer or a program can understand. So in a program, everything starts from 0 and goes up, but for ease of use, we are going to type in 1 comma 1 and 2 comma 2, then 3 comma 3, something like that. So that's basically the idea of how we are going to do. And many people also take another approach that I forgot to mention. Many people take an approach like a cell phone phone, the old phones, they have 1 2 3 keypad, 5 6 7 8 and 9, and they check whether 3 5 and 7 is all X, or if any three like this or this vertically or horizontally or diagonally is equal to X or O. So this is also an approach you can take, but this doesn't require any matrix at all. It can be easily done with a string itself, with a single dimensional array or other methods as well. So we are going to go for the NumPy matrix approach. So let me go ahead and make sure that this is running. So you just have to type get input and it should be fine. See, it's asking me to type the column, and we are going to save it as A and B and send it to get input. So now we got this out of the way. Let's get inside the loop that we have to run. We need to make a for loop. You can also make a while loop if you want this program to run continuously and you don't want to stop the game. And this is a nature for me to include this. If I want to break out of the loop, then I change C into true, and if C is true, then I break. So something like this is a second nature for me to do. So what this line of code is, it is going to so we are going to have a number n that is going to range from 1 to 10, that gives us 9 values. So there is only 9 blank space in the matrix, in a 3x3 matrix in a tic-tac-toe game, and this program is going to run for only 9 times. So we check whether this number is divisible by 2, whether n is divisible by 2. If it is divisible by 2 and if the remainder is 0, then we are going to run something inside this. Okay, so we take the position. So you can name this whatever you want. As I said, you just have to get the input from the user. So we already have a function here that is going to get the input from the user. We have to split this into two parts, position, and we have to get the first element of this, and we need y, that is position, and second element of what the user enters. And we also, before we actually take X or O and put it inside the matrix, we also have to check whether the matrix is blank or whether the matrix contains some other element. Okay, so you can do this without this line of code, but this will make sure that no one is cheating. Actually, they are not rewriting the other person's place. So if matrix that we have created here contains blank space, or you can also say does not, if it is not having, let's say, X. Okay, so first, if it is not having X and every number divisible by 2, so once it will be an odd number, once it is going to be an even, this n is going to be even number. So every time it is an even number, it's O's turn. Okay, so it has to print O in the specific location. We get the position from the user, and in that position we have to rewrite or write O in the blank space. We have simply given a blank space there, so now we are printing O in that specific location. Okay, and before we actually finish this off, we also have to check whether also have to show the matrix and also check the matrix. Let's just show the matrix for now, and let's work on how to verify a matrix or check if someone has won next. I think this line of code is not necessary actually, but this is something that I got very used to, so, and it's a good practice too. So now we check whether it is actually not divisible by 2 or whether it is odd number. Again we have to get position from the user, same this line of code, these things repeat, and then we also have to copy this line of code, I think everything here also, but we have to make some small modifications. Here we need to type O and here we have to type X. So now is X turn, so you are checking whether that place has been already written by the other person, by the opponent. And something that you can do is, if it is written by the other person, then you can break out of the loop. I think the code is pretty neat. Let's run this code. So we are saying that we need to put it in 2,2. Okay, the positions should be 1 because, as I said, we are talking about zero comma 1, and this should also be 0 comma 1, and if we run the code now, it should be pretty good. Yeah, now we are good to go. And if we specify 1 comma 1, we are already printing stuff, and we just have to end the game when someone is winning, right? So that's the final part. If there is a draw, then we have to specify that also. So that is the final thing we have to do in this program. We are pretty good right now. Let me also check the timer. It's been a while since we started with this tutorial, but let's get this done really quick. So the final function that we will be building is going to be a bit long. That is, let me name this as check matrix, and it has to get a matrix. So result, let me name it as result matrix, and we also have to get a value from the loop, the program loop. That value is going to specify whether we are checking for X or we are checking for O. So right here we have to basically check diagonally. We have to check for a draw. So result, we get the result matrix from main loop, and then we specify some rules that 0 comma 0 equal to result matrix 1 comma 1, and that also should be equal to 2 comma 2. So this basically means diagonal from top left to bottom right equal to B. Okay, so B is going to specify whether that element is X or O. That's all this B is going to be doing for us. And after this we are going to write a print statement telling that someone has won. First we are also going to say why they have won. Okay, and then dot for format B. So if this B is going to be X, then this line of code is going to print that B has won. B is in all diagonal. Okay, and next what we have to print is, we have to print that they have won. So again we are creating placeholders here. So if this is going to be X, then X1, or it is going to be like O1 dot format. Again here we are just going to name it as B. You can name this B whatever you want. I don't think that B is a good idea because already we have A and B in this function also, so it might be confusing for people. So right here I am returning true. This true will actually break the loop. That is why I am using a break statement here. and after this you have to also check for the other diagonal. So elif result matrix, yeah. So this same code right here, we just have to change the location. We have to check from bottom left to top right. Okay, and this line of code is going to be the same, except that it is going to be in a reverse diagonal. So now we have checked the diagonals. We have to check for draw. What happens when you get a draw? You actually basically filled up all the blank spaces, but no one has one. Okay, so for that you're again using elif, and you want to check result matrix, and we have to specify the condition that everything is not equal to just blank space, right? This is going to be a pretty long line of code. So now 0, 0 is a blank space. It's not equal to a blank space, and same thing. You have to repeat this over and over and over again, and something like this, right? You just have to change it to 1 and 2, etc. Let me copy this code right here. Yeah, so 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 2, 1, and at last 2, 2, and 2, 2. So if all these conditions satisfy, if there is no like 0 blank space, then we got to break out of the loop and say that it is a draw. So we are going to print that the match is draw. And we have to return true. Now we have to check the horizontal and vertical lines. We can simply use for loop for this. There's only 3 columns and 3 rows, so we are going to use a range of 0 to 3. That means 0, 1 and 2. It doesn't include 3. If you want more clarification on how these things really work, then check out my tutorial on Numpy. I, 1 equal to result of I, 2. So what this line of code is telling that, so we have a range of 3, that is 3 rows or 3 rows, and it is going to check first. I'll again specify this in a notebook so you can understand even better. So it is, let's say that this is I of 1, I of 2, I of 3, and this I can be 1 or 2 or 3. So in a for loop, if we run, it is going to go for I in range 1, 3, 0, 3, right? So I is going to be initially 0, 1 and 2, and I of 0, 0 and 0, 1 and 0, 2. If these 3 is same, then it is going to say that that person has won because he got X in all three rows, all three of these positions. So that's the code that I'm actually typing now. Then we have to print which person or whether X is same, or we are saying which column is same, and we are also printing who is winning, like X or O. And then we have to print who won, right? So placeholder again. Someone has won. That is dot format, and we already mentioned that that someone is B. So the B specifies whether it is X, or we are checking for X, or we are checking for O. So basically this is a for loop to check I. Next, let's go ahead and also check for rows. So for J in, it's going to be exactly the same, 0, 3, but we have to check if all the, let me go ahead and copy all this code right here and paste it right over here. Instead of this is going to be 0 and this is going to be J. Similarly, this is going to be 1 and this is going to be J. This is going to be 2 and this is going to be J. We have to specify J, comma B and dot format B. Yeah, that's all good now. Now we have to do correction in our main loop. We just have to run this def check matrix inside our game loop. So this game loop is for O and this small session is for X. So whenever the number is odd, even number n means it's O's turn. Now the final thing that we have to add is our check matrix. So before we actually show the matrix, we have to check the matrix once. So instead of just typing check matrix and matrix comma, for this part we are going to specify that we are going to check only for O. Check if O is present in all three diagonals or places of diagonal, or all three rows or columns are same. So this is something we pass in, but we also have a return statement in check matrix. So return is going to be true and here also true. So basically what this means is it actually breaks the I actually want to break the loop with this true command. So we can store that as C. We already have, if the C is true, then we are going to break, right? This is where this came in handy. So if C equal to check matrix and if this returns a true, then it is going to break the loop and we are going to end the game. So this same line of code can be copied right here but now we have to check only for x, and now our game is done. Let me open up my terminal. Done. Let me run the program now. So Python tic tac toe tutorial. You can name this whatever you can name this file whatever you want. So we have, it's asking for an input. We are going to specify that we needed 1,1. I'll just make this a little bit more larger. Hopefully now you can see this properly. So it's asking for an input every time. So now x has finished playing and it's y's turn. Okay, so we enter 2,2 and y, the O value is at the center. Now it's again x turn, so it's going to say it's 1,3. It's O turn, 2,3, and it's x turn again 1,2, and you can see that the x has 1, 0 column is same, this 3 is same, and x1, and the program showed the result and it has escaped. It has it broke the loop and we are back to base. So this is how the program runs. As you can see, everything runs pretty fine, and I'm pretty confident that diagonal and everything is going to work well. Let's say that 1,1, 1,2, 2,2. Let's also check the diagonals if they are working or not. 1,3, yeah, and 3,3. So now x is in all diagonal, x1. So this is how it's printing. You can use Pygame or something fancy to get this into a visual platform, into a more interactive and user-friendly. You can turn this into a more user-friendly game. Also make mobile app with this, and this is going to be a pretty cool game to also show it in your paper if you can do it into a mobile app or something using Python. But this is a quick code to get started with, application oriented programming in Python. You can obviously use object oriented programming rather than just creating functions. That would be even cool. But I think that's it for the video. If you have any doubts, leave it out in the comment section. And this took little over 40 minutes for me to complete, but I am also trying to teach you guys how everything works, and you can get this down to 10 minutes. Okay, see you guys in the next video. If you have any doubts, leave it down in the comment section below, and all the code is available in my GitHub page. Go check it out, try it for yourself, do any modifications if and run it in your PC. And if you make something cool, make sure that you leave it down in the comment, leave the GitHub link to that in the comment section, so I can also take a look at what you make and how you make this program fancy. So I'll be really interested to go through it. Give me a like and also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. Thank you.